Welcome back. All right, we're going to wrap up our lighting control in this section. You may remember we just built all of our interlocking buttons and our faders. By the way, we didn't bother to double check that the interlocking buttons worked. So if you go back and you click these buttons, you will see the yes indeed. Pressing one turns the other ones off. That is all thanks to the power of leveraging our any and our all event handlers, right? That gives us that control index. And that control index tells us if 1 is on, if 2 is on, if 3 is on, and if 4 is on. Now, we're talking now about when each of these is on, we want some other level to be sent to the fader. And we could do that giant if else, like we've been doing previously. Now, doing 4 if else's, it's not the end of the world, right? It's not that hard to do. What if there were more than 4? What if there were 16 presets? What if this isn't a lighting controller, but it's something else that requires these interlocking buttons, and there's a lot more of them, and you're just building this really long list of if else forever? We have a better way, a more efficient way, especially one that will be more scalable if you do need to add things later on or adjust what they do. The better way to do it is with something called arrays. Arrays are tables of information. An array is just data that's itemized. So you could think of an array in a couple of different ways. It's like a spreadsheet where you've got different rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and a different bit of information in each of those rows, right? And number 1 has this word, number 2 has that word. You can also think of it in terms of like mailboxes, right? You got mailboxes down the street. And mailbox 1, mailbox 2, mailbox 3. Mail carrier comes by and puts information into those boxes. We don't know what's in the box. We don't care what's in the box, but we know that the box has a number associated with it. Same thing with that control index. That control index had a number associated with it. We can make a table of data, and then we can use the control index to pull information out of the mailbox that is associated with that number. Just pull whatever is in there out of it and look at it and take that and use it somewhere else. So arrays give us the ability to save lots of bits of data in a single place, put information in, remember where we put it, and then take it out again later. That's what we're going to do here. We're going to go back to our block controller. We are going to create a brand new array. The way you do that is actually by creating a variable first. So we're going to make a variable, and I'm going to name this an array of levels. An array of levels. That's going to let me know that this particular variable is actually an array, and that the things within that array are the different levels we want to send. We build the array by going to our arrays category. All these dark red, sort of winey colored blocks, these are our array blocks. I'm going to grab this one right here, create array with blank, 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 and snap it in here. Create array with currently has 3 empty teeth on it. You can adjust how many things, how many mailboxes you have on this particular street, and you can define the number of mailboxes by adjusting the cog icon. We know we have 4 preset buttons. Each one's going to send a different bit of information. So we're going to have 4 mailboxes of information that we want to send. Let's add a 4th item to our list. That will increase the size of our array. And then we're going to input data into the array by snapping some number into all 4 of those boxes. So let's go and grab some values. And we're going to say that the top one is 99. We know that's the lights when it's all the way on. Let's say that the second one is 66. That probably makes sense. We're just going to stagger these evenly from all the way on to all the way off. We're going to say the next one is 33. And the last one is 0. So those are the 4 levels we could potentially send based on the button that is pressed. 99 is in array mailbox number 1, right? 66 is in mailbox number 2. 33 is in mailbox number 3. 0 is in mailbox number 4. Those 4 numbers align perfectly with the control index we're getting from our bank of controls. That's why we wanted to do this bank of controls, because it gives us this perfect numerical system that aligns with this array we can pull data out of. It's so slick. It's so slick. So why don't we simply, first of all, we have to pull information out of the mailbox and then send it to our function that's sending something to the lighting controller, right? So let's remember what that is by creating another variable when we pull it out. Let's, in our lighting preset event handler, create a new local variable that remembers whatever we're pulling out of the mailbox. New variable. We're going to call this the level to send. This is whatever we want to send. And we got to get it out of the mailbox, out of our array. If we look in our arrays options, there is indeed a block that says in array X, in this case, our particular array, get something. In fact, get whatever's in slot number 1, or slot number 2, or slot number 3, slot number 4. Let's use this block. We're going to snap it into our new local variable. So in the array of levels, we're going to get whatever is in mailbox number control index, right? We're going to use number 1, 2, 3, or 4 to get something out of the mailbox. That just saved us 4 if-else statements. We don't need an if it's number 1, get what's in mailbox number 1. Or if it's in number 2, get what's in mailbox number 2. We're just going to use whatever control index we got out of the button that was pressed bank and use that to look in the array and pull it out of the right box. And now we've got the number. Now all we got to do is send that number to the controller, and we already built the function for that. We just say, hey, we're going to do the send level to device function, and what are we going to send to it? We're not sending the control index. We're sending what we just memorized. We're sending the level to send, this guy right here, the thing that we just pulled out. Done. That's the array. That's these 3 slick little boxes that are just going to reference our table of numbers down here and pull it out and send it to the thing. This also makes it really easy to update these levels. Like if we don't want it to be 66, we can just change it right here, and we don't need to dig around in our event handler. We can just reference it here in the array, and that'll work out perfectly for us. Let's see if this works. Let's see if this works. We're going to look at our debug window. We're going to get our emulator over on another side. Give me a second while I arrange these. Okay, so now if I move my fader, we should automatically see that the level is set to whatever the fader is set to. That's working. That debug printing is working. If I set my interlocking buttons, the level is set to 66. The level is set to 33. The level is set to 0. Perfect. Now, the lights aren't turning on in the room yet. Why? Because we haven't sent that to the actual lighting device yet. We knew that. We knew that when we set up our function. We haven't added that TCP connection yet. But the debug is proving that our proof of concept works.